West's leader in emergency preparedness. We've served millions of folks like you for over a decade, and our mission is your survival. Our meals are delicious and provide you with 2,000 calories a day, and our kits arrive quickly and discreetly at your doorstep. Visit mypatriotsupply.com and feast your eyes on the food that could save your life someday. That's mypatriotsupply.com. Take the pressure off yourself. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and face the future without regrets.
Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the first Wednesday of each month at 9:30 to Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion, and learn how they can help you.
It's time for the Camellia Show. The best deals of the year are at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala. What's more, you can get your own famous Bob Wine's heirloom camellias starting at just $12.99 in dozens of colors to choose from. By all means, check out the super deal on citrus trees. Bob has lemon, lime, tangerine, orange, tangelo, grapefruit, kumquat, and more. Pick your favorite Bob's super low price and then get a second one for half price. Looking for color? Bob has flowering annuals, just $1.99, or a huge flat of 18 for just $19.99. Inside their greenhouse, check out the indoor foliage, 50% off. Plus all statuary, fountains, and pottery are buy one, get one for half price. Come on out to the Camellia Show, but by all means, bring your walking shoes. We know you'll love it. Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, daily till 4 on Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, the same blooming place since 1952.
Oh, hey, Grandpa.
Oh, hey, Grandpa.
Hey, Grandpa.
Yes, buddy?
Can you take me fishing this weekend?
I'd love to.
Have you noticed a change in your hearing over the years? Missing the little things in life? Visit Beneficial Hearing in Ocala today. Their expert team of audiologists will make sure you never miss a moment. Call Beneficial Hearing today at 352-629-4418 or visit them online, beneficialhearing.com.
On the first and third Wednesday mornings each month at 9:05 a.m., Robert Colin with On Top of the World will be our guest as we learn all about the exciting lifestyle and new home choices available at Ocala's premier adult active community, On Top of the World. From time to time, Robert will bring guests, and you're sure to enjoy our little chat. After all, you deserve the world, and we bring it to you.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Hello, I'm Mark Sears with Regency Printing. With over 10 years in the printing business, I know you'll find Regency Printing the place for all your local printing needs. Plus, I have fax services, mailbox rentals, notary service, U.S. mail, pack and ship, all at one convenient location, 2375 Northeast 25th Avenue. Just look for the yellow signs. Regency Printing, 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Regency Printing.
Now you did it. Are you completely insane? He's back. He, who must not be named. The man, the myth, the only guy in Ocala to eat his own weight in fried pickles. Twice. Now, you asked for it. Sorta. Live and in person. It's Tom Schmitz.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome to Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz. Remembering the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. A fateful incident took place today, 35 years ago. Space Shuttle Challenger broke apart 73 seconds into flight, taking the lives of all 7 crew members aboard. Crew consisted of 5 NASA astronauts, 2 payload specialists. This mission carried the designation STS-51L It was the 10th flight for the Challenger orbiter. The spacecraft came apart over the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Cape Canaveral at 11:39. The disintegration of the vehicle began after a joint in its right solid rocket booster failed at liftoff. The failure was caused by the failure of O-ring seals used in the joint that were not designed to handle the unusually cold conditions that existed at the launch. This from the Cape Canaveral website. The seal's failure caused a breach in the solid rocket booster joint, allowing pressurized burning gas from within the solid rocket motor to reach the outside and impinge upon the adjacent solid rocket booster aft field joint attached hardware and external fuel tank. This led to the separation of the right-hand solid rocket booster's aft field joint attachment and the structural failure of the external tank. Aerodynamic forces broke up the orbiter. The crew compartment and many other vehicle fragments were eventually recovered from the ocean floor after a lengthy search and recovery. The exact timing of death of the crew is unknown. Several crew members are known to have survived the initial breakup of the aircraft. The shuttle had no escape system, and the impact of the crew compartment at terminal velocity with the ocean surface was too violent to be survivable, according to NASA. The disaster resulted in a 32-month hiatus in the Space Shuttle program, the formation of the Rogers Commission, a special commission appointed by the United States President Ronald Reagan to investigate the accident. The Rogers Commission found that NASA's organizational culture and decision-making processes had been key contributing factors to the tragedy, with the agency violating its own safety rules. NASA managers had known since 1977 that contractor Morton Thickle's design of the solid rocket boosters contained a potentially catastrophic flaw in the O-rings, but they failed to address this problem properly. NASA managers also disregarded warnings from engineers about the dangers of launching posed by low temperatures that morning. They failed to adequately report these technical concerns to their superiors. Approximately 17% of the U.S. population witnessed the launch on live television because of the presence of high school teacher Krista McAuliffe, who would have been the first teacher in space. Media coverage of the accident was extensive. One study reported that 85% of the Americans surveyed had heard the news within an hour of the accident. The Challenger disaster has been used as a case study in many discussions of engineering safety and workplace ethics. Like Galen said, if you go watch the Netflix documentary, you'll see that a lot of people at NASA, even though they knew of this tragedy, didn't want it to be disclosed because they thought that would be the death knell for the program. They thought if we tell them we got these issues and that we need to fix them, we need to shut the program down to fix them, that it would be the problem. And besides, these issues are only at extreme cold temperatures, and we don't experience those in Florida until we did. 622-9622 is the number to call. Where were you? What is your memories of January 28th, 1986, as the Space Shuttle Challenger tore apart over the Atlantic Ocean just off the coast of Cape Canaveral? 622-9622 is the number to call. Like I said, I was in Atlanta getting ready to open up a food place in the mall, in the Lenox Square Mall. And that day, the mall opened late. People were just in shock. It was what everybody was talking about, even when they come to the mall. Nobody really had anything else on their mind except this disaster. Good morning, caller. Who's this?
Morning, Tom.
Morning, Hugh. How are you?
Pretty good. See, back then I was living up in Milwaukee, the suburb of Milwaukee, and I was on a treadmill in front of my TV set, pumping away, and watching it take off. And then I was looking real close at it, and I thought, geez, that don't seem right, And even before they announced it on TV, and that I could say, I said, this rocket is going to have problems, because it didn't look good. Then a few seconds later, boom, and that was, oh my God, watching that was just terrible.
Well, when he said throttles to full go, when you go back and look at it and you watch it now, knowing what the results are going to be, when you see it take off from the launch pad, it's a bigger smoke plume than is normal, and it's because all this fuel is escaping out of that O-ring and creating a bigger than normal a smoke flume. You can tell, you're right, when you look at it now, knowing what you know and knowing how it looks, and you look at it compared to other liftoffs, just something about the liftoff didn't look right. Something about it was there was too much smoke and too much, just liftoff residue. Something about it just didn't look normal.
Yeah, talking about the stats on that day with the weather back in Wisconsin, I'm on the treadmill. I says, what? It's 30-some degrees in Florida. I said, it doesn't get that cold down here. That's before I knew too much about Florida. I can't believe it's only 30s. That don't make any sense, But and that was the way it was, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and the fact that they knew. Since 1977 that this could be a problem, and this was 1986. But they were so scared that if they stopped it and took it offline for any amount of time, that Washington would cancel the space shuttle program. And so it boggles my mind that people made decisions that could kill people, which it did. That's what it did. It cost people their lives over the chance that they would, not have the space shuttle program would have to close. It's amazing to me. It is amazing.
They shut it down for 3 years.
Yeah, 32 months. 32 months they shut it down. And the temperature that morning at takeoff was 36 degrees. But when they had started, when they had loaded the astronauts onto the shuttle, and as the shuttle sat there and they had experienced a low of 27 degrees overnight while the shuttle sat out there.
Yeah.
That's unusual for that far south.
Yeah, like I said, I was pretty not that familiar with Florida weather, other than it was always nice down here. I couldn't believe it was that cold. I said, my God, look at that, and talking about it being in the low 30s or whatever it was, and I thought, geez, these people are all bundled up on this little grandstand kind of looking. That was another thing that was terrible too, to see the parents of that teacher, I guess it was, standing, or they showed their faces and that after the thing blew up, and you could just see the tragedy in their face,
Well, the fact that they didn't know anything about how it would react in 27-degree weather. That's unheard of weather in Cape Canaveral. So it did catch, and a lot of people saw their jobs and their livelihoods and all flash in front of their eyes because they knew that this accident, this tragedy, was probably going to be the end of the space shuttle program. It didn't prove to be the end, but it was never the same after the wonderment of it kind of got tarnished when you knew that it was instant, but we thought instant death, and then we found out later in investigations and all that some of the crew members may have actually survived all the way until the crew part of the shuttle slammed into the ocean, which is like from that height at that speed, it's like hitting concrete.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's a shame back then that they didn't have like an escape capsule or something.
No escape capsule.
After that tragedy, that they finally did have escape capsules and stuff. And it's also a shame that there had to be a civilian on that flight, that teacher and all those kids were watching. It's just that whole thing was just a terrible disaster.
And one that could have been avoided. It came out later that because of missteps of bureaucracy and people worried about not having the program shut down, they let safety go on certain things, and it cost 7 people their lives and cost some people their I think it took some people's innocence away that day. A lot of kids in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grades that had to be explained about death and the finality of it and all right that moment by people that weren't their family. It had to be teachers and administrators that did it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when it comes right down to it, there's one little O-ring, but the O-ring wasn't the fault. It was the fault of the people that made that rocket go up in that kind of temperature. So it's a lesson to be learned.
It is a lesson to be learned. Hugh, thanks for the call.
Okay, thank you.
622-9622 is the number to call. It was one of those days that could have been avoided. And yet it wasn't, because people were worried about, if we say there's a problem, we'll have to shut the program down. And once the program's shut down, there's a very good chance it may not start back up. And so that ultimately led to decisions being made that cost 7 people their lives on January 28, 1986. Cape Canaveral, just over Cape Canaveral, Florida. 622-9622 is the number to call. Tell us your memories of that day, where you were, what you were doing, and how it affected you going forward. I know that the Space Shuttle Challenger, it disintegrating on liftoff, much more profound effect on me in my life than the Columbia coming back into the atmosphere and disintegrating because the heat shields had fallen off. That was just something that couldn't be avoided. That's part of, that's one of the tragedies of space travel, is sometimes if the heat shields, through just accidental foam, actually, they said foam flew off and knocked some heat shields off that compromised the ability to come back through the atmosphere. That was an accident. This was a tragedy that could have been avoided on January 28, 1986, because they knew the O-rings didn't work well under cold weather, and they knew it since 1977. They just didn't want to shut the program down because they didn't want it to go away. And that really is the basis of why the 7 astronauts lost their lives that day. 622-9622 is the number to call. We'll be back after this timeout. You're listening to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA. The Source. As soon as I find where I'm supposed to be.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new truck.
Yep, we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too.
Well, as a matter of fact, join me, Matt Gibbs from Sunrise Automotive, every Tuesday at 10 for auto repair with personal care right here on The Source.
Started in 1975. It's Yendel's Building Materials. Whether you're making repairs, adding a room, or building a house, Yendel's constantly delivers excellent service and top quality materials and many of the tools and hardware you need to get the job done. At Yendel's, they take pride in supplying their customers with new and innovative products. Yendel's experience in truss design, manufacturing, and component materials is second to none. 834 North Magnolia Avenue in Ocala, 732-3000. Stop by to experience the difference.
Well, you've heard us say this before, but it's worth repeating. Right now, in the wintertime, is the best time to plant trees in this part of Florida. Best of all, Bob Wines brings you this money-saving deal. Pick out a tree, any shade tree, from large to super large to humongous at Bob Wines' super low prices, and get a second one just like it for half price. Nobody else offers this deal. Hurry for the best selection. Great deals this week's at Bob Wines. A closeout on Drift Roses, Ocala's favorite, just $15.99. Dwarf Ever Blooming